Hello there, it's Matthew from Matthew North Music here. Thanks for watching my latest video. And if you like these sort of videos, please think about hitting the subscribe button below because it really does help the channel. And also if you hit the little bell icon, then you'll also be notified about the next videos that are coming up. Anyway, today we're talking about possibly the most iconic album of all time, certainly as far as cover artwork is concerned. Beatles Sgt Pepper, I mean, you know what the album is, we all know this album. And I have two copies of it. This is my very battered stereo copy, and this is my slightly less battered mono copy. I think the mono one still has its insert and inner sleeve. There's our lovely designed by the Fool printed inner sleeve, and there's the cutouts that came with it. And did anybody ever actually cut these out at the time? I'd love to know if you ever sort of cut these out, or you got photos from back in the day of you with your stick-on moustaches. I don't think anybody ever did, but I'm sure somebody must have done before realising actually it's probably nicer just to keep it as an insert for the record. But anyway, Sgt Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Now, in 2017, there was a Superdeluxe edition box set released of it. And I never bought it at the time because, if I'm being truthful, Pepper was never my favourite Beatles album. I mean, it's a great album, and I probably like it more now than I used to. But it's not one that at the time I thought, do I want to get the box set or not? Anyway, it's virtually out of print now, and I kind of thought, you know what, if I don't pick up a copy now, it's going to be like every other Beatles box set, and the price is just going to go up and up and up and up and up and up. Anyway, I managed to get one on an Amazon warehouse deal, and so I thought I'd open it up and I'll have a look at it. And as a bonus feature for this video, I'm also going to do a quick unboxing of the Revolver box set as well, which I know there's other videos about it as well, but if you haven't seen what's in Revolver, then stick around because you'll be able to see that as well. But onwards to Sgt Pepper. Well, a slightly bashed box turned up today from Amazon, and so the corner's all a bit knocked and a bit bashed, so not the greatest packaging in the world. But anyway, let's see what's inside, because obviously, hopefully, having a smashed outer box means the inner boxes should be in good condition. And here we go. This is our Pepper box. So yeah, I mean, it's an Amazon warehouse deal that I got it on. It's an Amazon warehouse deal that I got it on, and it did say that some of the packaging was a bit knocked. But I kind of thought, well, you know, I've got to get hold of it at some point. I'd have thought they would have put it in a separate inner box though, because really this kind of packaging isn't that great. Anyway, we'll take that one out, and I think in this box is our Revolver. So we've, you know, that's much better packaged. But let's look at Pepper first. Looking at the front then, we've got the one thing that the Beatles took from the Stones, because obviously a lot of Stones albums that came out kind of had Beatles nods to them. But this one, you've got like a 3D cover, a bit like the Stones' Satanic Majesty's Request album, which obviously came out after the Beatles did Pepper. And I don't know how well you can see that on here, but yeah, it does look really cool. It's a shame there's a couple of knocks here, but anyway, I was expecting that because of where I got it from. On the back here, it's got a list of what's in the box. And it says there's 4 audio CDs with the new stereo mix, Sgt Pepper Sessions, on 2 discs, and the mono mix of the album. And then we've got a DVD, which has got the Making of Sgt Pepper from '92. Some stuff with Paul, George and Ringo in the studio. The film of A Day in the Life, Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane. Then there's a 5.1 mix of Giles's new mix, and there's a high resolution version as well, plus Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane. And then there's a book and some other bits and bobs. So yeah, this is everything that's in the box, and it's got a sticker at the bottom just because it is from the Amazon warehouse. So I don't know how often these turn up, but it's good that it did turn up, because otherwise I probably wouldn't be able to get a copy. You can see on the edge here as well that there's been a knock to the side of the box, but you know, that's kind of to be expected. This side though looks okay, it's all good. The next thing then, there's a sticker here at the top, which I'm going to try and undo. that holds this outer cover on. I mean, the outer cover isn't, you know, necessary, but it is rather nice. Well, there's a stick on the bottom as well, so we'll undo that as well. I'm going to see if I can gently try and peel this away. It's probably not the best idea to do this because you might end up ripping the card, but no, that's good, that's gone. This is our outer sleeve, and we're going to now remove it to reveal the box. And if you look at the box, it looks like a tape box, and that's exactly what it is. It's a facsimile of a reel-to-reel box. Whether that's an original label or not, I don't know. It could well be. It's a CCIR, so it's probably a tape that would have been sent off somewhere for pressing, like a duplication tape. And on the back, you've got side 2. Again, similar type artwork with the track times and whatnot. And yeah, looks really nice actually. Yeah, I like the look of that. So let's open this thing up. Okay, so this does open up a bit like a tape box, and it reveals the contents inside. And what do we have? Well, firstly, a sealed record. So it's only the box that's actually been damaged. So this actually is new. It's not been played or anything, which I thought it might have been. This is our LP then, and it looks pretty good. It looks pretty much like a copy of Sgt Pepper. I'm going to take the polythene sleeve off very, very gently. It's probably enough. And it's a little bit tight actually. Can't quite get this off. There we go. And that's our record. Now let's have a look inside. And oh, it's not a record. It's a CD holder. Oh, there you go. Of course it is. It's a CD box set. I wouldn't expect a record. Okay, so these discs have fallen out. This is CD4. This is is that the Blu-ray? This is 3. That's CD3, and this goes here. Okay. I now know what we've got. So we've got 4 CDs here, and then we've got the Blu-ray and the DVD. And what's really nice about these sleeves, we've got like a different photos from the Pepper album. I mean, obviously there we've got the original album sleeve. On this one, there's another variation. Looks obviously them setting up, and with tracks on the back again. The band are looking away on that one. On this one, Ringo sat down. Again, it's another variation. I like the way they've got different variations of each sleeve. And on the last one, that's the one that you kind of sometimes do see a bit more often as an alternative photograph. And it's got a red backing on there. So yeah, they look really cool. And our Blu-ray and DVD, they're in a more sort of traditional, just a logo on the thing and a plain jacket. Discs, nice artwork there. Region 0 disc, so that means this can be played anywhere. Which, because this is made for a worldwide market, that's kind of what you expect. And also because it means you don't have to repress it. So it's probably an NTSC Blu-ray. If it says so on there, actually, let's have a quick look. And I can't even read it, to be honest. I'm pretty sure it's NTSC. Okay, so all our media is in that reproduction Pepper cover. All our media then is in this reproduction Pepper cover. The next thing we have is what looks like to be a poster, and it is a poster. And I think it's a really great poster. I mean, the skin tones are a little dark of the Fab Four. I think the original would have been probably a bit brighter, but that's a really nice looking poster, and you know, I think it would look really good framed. Again, when they do put posters in box sets, I do kind of wonder why they're folded and why there's never an option to get one, you know, rolled up in a tube or something. But you know, it is what it is. And I've got a poster. Now this looks like a reproduction of the Benefit of Mr. Kite thing that John saw, which is where the song lyrics basically came from. And Again, that's really nicely done actually, and it's a nice paper, nicely printed. That would look good framed as well. Now here we have our Sgt Pepper cutouts. Now if we just compare that to one from my original album, we can just see what the differences are, if any. Now the card is roughly the same thickness, and the green is a lot darker than the one on the original. But otherwise, it's fairly close. I think all of it's slightly darker. If we look at the back, then obviously this is our new one. This is our original. But yeah, I think they've done a pretty good job on that. It says printed in England on here, on the original. It doesn't say where it's printed on the reissue. But yeah, I think these are a pretty good facsimile of the original insert. Now, this is the main draw, I think, of the box, is the book. Oh, this is nice. So they've reprinted the original LP in a sleeve as the opening for the book. And I'll just flick past a page here. I've gone past several pages. Let's start again. So we've got another outtake of the inner photograph. And then there's a contents of what's in the book. And I'm just going to randomly flick through. So we've got some, in fact, I'm going to flick from back to front because it's just easier for the camera. So we've got the lyrics at the back. We've got stuff about the memorabilia there in Sgt Pepper in America. There's a scale here to tell you, or key rather, to show you who everyone is on the sleeve. Some outtakes there of the photo session. Then we've got some photos from the sessions there. Got original lyrics, more tape boxes, more photos there. Yeah, it's there's John's original lyrics there from Mr. Kite. She's leaving home. Yeah, so you've got very big details about each song in here in the text, which is always nice to see. And then we got more photos there of the recording and various dates of what they were doing at the time. And yeah, this is a really nice book. I think you could spend a good few hours reading this. And it's very in depth, and I kind of think that's kind of what you want in a book like this. So they have done a really nice job with the book. So to cap up then, we've got the book, which is really nicely laid out. We've got a bit of memorabilia, but not too much. The cutout sheet, which is a great thing to have. The Mr. Kite poster, which I really like. The advertising poster. And then we've got all the media here. And having all the media in an album size sleeve does mean that you can just keep this on your record shelf and you don't need to open up the box every time you want to play the CDs. Although I'm probably more likely to digitize them and stick them on a hard drive plugged into my CD player, which is quite often what I do these days. There's no slot in the side, so you can't slot the insert in there, not that you'd really want to. But yeah, I think that looks really great. And the box itself is fairly sturdy, fairly heavy duty. And then when we pop it back in its sleeve, we've got a very nice looking set. So I think that's a really great album and a really nice package. And I think for the time, because you know this was made 2017, so it's 6 years ago now. And the only thing that dates it slightly, I suppose, is the fact that it's got a DVD as well as a Blu-ray, whereas these days you just have a Blu-ray only, because anyone that's going to play physical media will have a Blu-ray player anyway. So yeah, really great set. Stepping backwards now, or you could say stepping forwards, because this is the predecessor to Sgt Pepper, but it's also the latest Beatles Deluxe box set. Here we have Revolver. Now, I've waited a little while to get this. I was kind of hoping the price might come down a bit, but I don't think it will, because I think they're going to be running short of it soon. And while some of the earlier box sets did get reduced, which I think was because there was less uptake, because less people were into vinyl in, you know, 5-6 years ago compared to now. And also they probably press less of them as well, because they know the market better. We open the cardboard box, and inside we've got a nice thick bit of polystyrene. In fact, the whole thing's in like a polystyrene parcel, which I do approve of. I think that's great for looking after the record. Probably not so great for the environment, but then, you know, I always reuse all my packaging anyway, so it doesn't make a lot of difference. If we pull some of this off, here we've got our Revolver box set, and it's arrived, I think in part because of the polystyrene, in beautiful condition. It's absolutely perfect. There's not a knock, there's not a mark on it anywhere, nothing. So yeah, this is our Revolver box set. It's 4 LPs with a 7-inch single. On the hype sticker it says Superdeluxe 4 LP edition, new stereo mix by Giles Martin and Sam Okell, 2 session LPs of outtakes, rehearsals and demos and studio chat, a mono version of the album, all 180 gram vinyl, plus a 7-inch EP, and a hardback book. Now this is always the thing that concerns me, made in the Czech Republic. That means this has been pressed by GZ. And if you saw my video about the George Harrison box set, the All Things Must Pass, I've actually sent that back twice because of manufacturing problems that it had. And I kind of really wouldn't want to touch them again, but this is Revolver, and I kind of had to bite my tongue and just lash out for it, really. Let's get this box open, and if we look here, there's our records and our book on this edge. So I'm just going to open along this edge here, because that's where the widest gap appears to be. And then I will take the plastic off. I mean, I may have mentioned this before, but the hype sticker I always tend to cut out and keep it somewhere safe in the box. I know some people like to keep the wrapping, all of the wrapping, but I'll just keep that bit and I'll keep it inside the book or something. Anyway, that out the way, let's take everything out the box. The first thing we have here is the stereo mix. Now the sleeve has a matte finish on the back and a glossy finish on the front. The artwork looks fairly good. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously been reprinted. You can see here that it's obviously been copied, but you know, it's what it is. Take the record out, and it's in a polylined inner sleeve, which is nice. I was worried it might not be in a polyline sleeve, but it's in a polyline sleeve, and because of that, the record looks in pretty good shape. I can't see a warp on that. No, the quality of the record there is much better than I would normally expect from GZ. So that's our stereo mix. We then have the mono mix. Now we have the cover's actually thicker. Well, it feels thicker. Yeah, it is. The cover feels ever so slightly thicker on the mono edition than the stereo. Not sure why. I don't know if you can see on the camera or not, but yeah, it's slightly thicker. And we'll take the record out again. Polyline sleeve. And can't see any scratches on the record. Not that I'd expect some. Looking at the edge, no, there's no warping either. So, so far we've had 100% success on the vinyl content, and it's absolutely nothing like I expected. Now, because I've bought my box set later than a lot of people did, I'm not sure if there's been like a second pressing or a repress or whatever, because I had heard stories about some manufacturing issues. So maybe because this is a later one, it might be better. I don't know. This is our third LP, and this is a double album. And this is a double album of outtakes and sessions, and it uses the one of the original designs for the original version of Revolver that was then dropped. And on the back, we've got a slightly different photo compared to the original. I think there was only 2 photos taken from this session here, but yeah, it's a really nice picture actually. And if we open up the record, we've also got our EP. Now, the EP feels very thick actually. The vinyl's very thick, and it almost feels like one of those old Fisher-Price 45s. But this is really thick vinyl, and the last single I had where the vinyl was this thick was actually the band The Mission, when they did Evangeline in about 20 years ago. They did that as a double coloured vinyl 7-inch, and again that was really thick vinyl. Now there's a spindle mark here. Not quite sure how that happened. There isn't on this side. There's a bit of dust on there, a bit of muck. And there does seem to be some sort of pressing mark about there. When I mean pressing mark, it looks like a scratch, but it's just actually how it's been moulded into the plastic. Now the thing with these reproduction 7-inch sleeves is that the record comes out of the side, not the top. And because this is an EP, I would have preferred this to have had a picture cover and for the record to have had a nice inner sleeve, as per the Beatles singles collection box set that came out a couple of years ago. So I think that was making it a little bit cheap. You could have almost had this as a 12-inch single actually. I think that would have been even nicer. But it is what it is. By the way, spoiler alert, the new mixes of Paperback Writer and Rain in stereo are brilliant. Now then, let's look at the Sessions album. I'm just going to take one of the LPs out, and it's got like a reproduction test pressing acetate type sticker on it. Again, the record looks very good indeed. And has it got a warp? No. I thought for a second it might have had an edge warp, but I think it was just the light. So yeah, disc 3 does look very good indeed. And lastly, there's a lovely photo in there of the Beatles in Abbey Road. I think that was taken by Robert Freeman. And the last record, again. Now this does have what looks like a very minor warp. Yeah, that's not completely flat. And also this feels slightly thinner than the others, but yeah, there's definitely a warp on this one. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. But yeah, it sort of lifts up a little bit. Now, whether that's enough to affect play, I don't know. I'm just going to pop this on the turntable and we'll have a quick look. And if I switch it on, you can see it is going up and down a little bit. But if I just turn it off, I'm just going to push the spindle right down. It was sticking up a little bit. And you can see there is a very slight edge warp, but I don't think that's going to affect playback. You can see it's bobbing up and down a little bit, but not very much, so I think that's going to be fine. That then is a relief, and the LP actually does seem to be okay. Very, very minor edge warp, but nothing else. Here's our book, and it's not been sealed like the Pepper book. And there's a tiny little knock up here in the corner. Not major, but you can just see it's got a little bit of creasing up in the corner, which is a shame, but there you go. And we'll just open up the book and have a look inside. Again, very similar size to the Pepper book, and I'm going to flick from this side to the other. So we've got some photos. Because of course this is the last time that the Beatles were a touring band after this album, and then they then gave up touring. And yeah, some lovely photos here. This is kind of almost the Beatles, the Oasis years, because I always think this is where Oasis probably got their image from, was the Beatles in '66. That's a lovely photo of Paul looking at Stone's Aftermath LP. when they realised that their competitors had actually got it right that time. Oh, that's a great photo there. George with a Burns bass, John there with his Epiphone, Paul playing guitar. I'm guessing that's a rehearsal room, but interesting that they've got their PA speaker there as well, a bit like they did in the Get Back film. So they obviously liked rehearsing with a PA system. And of course, you know, this was only 2.5, 3 years before Get Back. Totally different era of the band. But yeah, it's a really nice book. Loads of text in there. Definitely well worth reading through. Revolver then, as a box set, is about one thing. It's about the music, which is why you've got the records, you've got the text, and nothing else. There's no memorabilia, there's no posters, there's no stickers, there's nothing like that. And with the Pepper box, there is a little bit of memorabilia, but then the original album did have memorabilia with it. It was one of the first albums to ever have memorabilia with it. So I think it's perfectly understandable that the Pepper box set did have that. Now, I don't want to bang on too much about Pink Floyd as I have done in some other videos, but both of these box sets have cost me about the same amount of money as if I was to buy the new Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon box set. And here you have got so much more content, huge amount more content. The books are really nice, the vinyl quality in Revolver is excellent. You've got tons of music in the Beatles Pepper set. You know, it's a great box set. Now, the Pepper one you probably aren't going to be able to find very soon. So if you want to get one now. And the Revolver box set, I don't think is going to be around for too long either. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed these two little videos. I'm going to thoroughly enjoy listening to both of these now. I did actually buy the Revolver 2 CD edition, so I know roughly what's on it. As for the Pepper box, I did listen to it on streaming a while ago, but it'd be nice to listen to it in quality. And for good measure, we've also got this. This is the Abbey Road Deluxe edition. Now, there's two versions of this as a box. There's the CD version and then there's the triple vinyl version. And I opted for the CD version. And that's mostly because it comes with a Blu-ray disc that, as well as having the Atmos mix and the surround mix, of which is no use to me whatsoever because I don't have any equipment to play it on, but it has it all in high res, and that's a nice thing to have. So let's get this box open. Now, it's quite a weighty box, and it's got a solid card wraparound, and on the back it's got our track listings for the 3 discs plus the Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray has the Atmos mix and the high-res stereo, so that's really cool. Now, you can see it's got a little import sticker here. That's because I actually bought this from Amazon in Germany, because it was substantially cheaper than getting one in the UK. I think it was about £30 cheaper. I think that this was about £60, whereas in the UK it's gone up to about 90. Anyhow, let's get this thing open. So I'm going to gently take a scalpel along the plastic, being careful not to scrape anything. I've just ripped off a little bit there. That should be enough to get the outer wrap off. As ever, I will keep that to one side, the old sticker. Right, we'll open it up and we pull the book out. And there's nothing else in there, that's just the sleeve. So it's all about the book. So let's open up the first page. And here we have 2 discs. This is the 29 mix and the Blu-ray disc. And I'm guessing, yep, in the back, we've got the Sessions discs 1 and 2. So let's have a look at these discs first. Abbey Road with the original cover, and the Blu-ray with the original cover. Now I'm wondering, if they're going to have different covers for the others, and they do. So let's have a look. Take this one out. So that's our Sessions disc 1. So you can see they've gone with alternative photographs for the Sessions discs. If we turn them over though, and we can see there's an alternative back sleeve as well, which is really nice. So yeah, nice little design on the seat, on the discs themselves. Right, let's look into the book then, and we've already taken the discs out. And we start with a photo from one of the latter day photo sessions, and we've got forwards by Paul McCartney, Giles Martin introduction, and then we've got some text by Kevin Howlett, and there's a bit at the end by David Hepworth, no less. The great David Hepworth, who, if you watch this channel, you will see he's in the opening video, and if you haven't seen that video yet, then it'll be well worth having a little watch. So we've got some nice photos here from the session. There's George with a Gibson J200 there, Paul with his Rickenbacker bass, John going through his that look, and yeah, so there's Paul at the piano in Abbey Road. And of course, Abbey Road was never called Abbey Road when they made the album. It was named Abbey Road after the album was a success. And so there's George Harrison and Jackie Lomax working on something. This looks like a picture from Let It Be, actually. Yeah, that's from Twickenham. And they're talking about the whole Get Back thing, because of course the Get Back film was the start of Abbey Road, really, because a lot of those songs were there. So yeah, we've got loads of really nice bits of memorabilia and things in the book. And this is what I don't get with the Pink Floyd box sets. They put little bits of memorabilia in their box sets, like little flyers and stuff, but I think it's much nicer just to see them as part of a printed book. You know, good quality printed book. Handwritten lyrics. More photos. George playing bass there. Never seen a photo of him with a Fender Jazz bass before. And there's, of course, there's the famous Moog synthesizer that they used, and it was the first and only Beatles record that had a synthesizer on it. Mellotron doesn't count. And yeah, there's... I never realised there were so many photos from the Abbey Road sessions, but then thinking about it, you know, the Beatles are always being photographed. Some of the scores there. And yeah, it's great. There's, of course, they did Ballad of John Yoke and Old Brown Shoe in between Let It Be and Abbey Road coming out. Come and Get It, that's a Paul demo. There's a photo of the zebra crossing, rather. Now, do we have all the photos here? Yeah, we do. So that's them stood outside the doors of the studio. And yeah, it's great. Really nice book. And some stills there from the promo film for something. And yeah, we get to the end. There's all the track listings. Some final credits. And yeah, that's it. So that is the Abbey Road box set. For me, the Beatles reissue campaign of the last 10 years represents some of the greatest attention to detail of any deluxe reissues. While Magical Mystery Tour may not have been a complete Super Deluxe edition, it did put everything together in a very neat package, and one day, hopefully, this may be revisited with outtakes both from the film as well as the recording sessions. Certainly, if Peter Jackson got hold of all of the negatives, I'm sure he could make a very different film. The White Album box set gave us so much great music to listen to. Just listening to the acoustic demos alone is pure joy. Let It Be was always going to be a slightly contentious issue because it didn't contain the full rooftop performance as a separate LP. However, I could see this coming out as an album one day by the fact it's already been released on streaming services in that configuration. It's been really enjoyable to listen to the whole of the Pepper box set. Listening to the way the songs are constructed, it actually gives me a much stronger appreciation of the album. Revolver as well is a great listen because of all the outtakes and the real attention to detail of all the new studio technology that was taking place as this album was being made. And the album that ended the Beatles' career, Abbey Road, again, not a huge amount of outtakes exist for this compared to some of the other albums, but needless to say, it's a real joy to listen to from start to finish. If you don't own any of these box sets and you do find them at a decent price, then I'd thoroughly recommend getting them. However, there is another way to listen to a lot of the Beatles outtakes on physical media that won't cost very much at all. And that is the deluxe box set that never was a deluxe box set, but it actually is a deluxe box set at the same time. I'm talking about the original set of anthology CDs. For a short time, you were able to get hold of from certain shops a wraparound cardboard cover to put your anthology CDs inside. And this, I think, made a very attractive looking box. Now, I did manage to buy this box from eBay a little while ago, and the actual cardboard was rather expensive, it has to be said, but I just wanted it because I thought it looked really, really good. However, if you look for the original anthology CDs on somewhere like eBay or Music Magpie or any of the cheap retailers, you can pick them up at a knockdown price. You can normally pick up the first anthology for £2 or £3, likewise for volume 2. Volume 3 might cost you a whopping £5. However, you can buy all of them for under a tenner if you look hard enough. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. As you can probably tell, I actually have made this video over a period of a few months because I didn't acquire all this stuff at the same time and I just filmed each bit as I went along. But I thought it'd be quite nice just to compile all these Beatles deluxe boxes into one video. Now, what's going to come next from the Beatles? I don't know. A lot of people think there's probably going to be a Rubber Soul box set, and that kind of figures. But it would be nice if someone like Peter Jackson got hold of the Magical Mystery Tour footage and made a new film out of that, because I think there's lots of potential. Lots of scenes in that film were never used. And also there's different mixes and variations of the music used in the film as well. And maybe they could actually add things like the Penny Lane and the Strawberry Fields promo into the film in some way. I think that would be a really cool thing. It's almost like you could make a mashup of Pepper and Mystery Tour and get everything together and just make one long film, which I think could be really good to watch. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.